Here.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Dilretto.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Ms. Berthold.
Here.
Mr. Metcalf.
Here.
Well, all members of council are here and accounted for with the exception of Mr. Davis.
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion that we excuse Mr. Davis from tonight's meeting.
Second.
It's been readily made to second that Mr. Davis be excused from tonight's council meeting. Roll call.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamaga.
Aye.
Mr. Dilretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Berthold.
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
So moved. Mr. Davis will be excused from tonight's council meeting. Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 30th, 2014, and October 7th, 2014.
Second.
It's been readily moved and second that the minutes of September 30th, 2014 and October 7th, 2014 be accepted as written. Roll call.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamaga.
Aye.
Mr. Dilretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Berthold.
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
So moved. Minutes accepted. Petitions and communications, Madam Clerk.
Yes, I have a letter from Mr. and Mrs. Jesse Marino. Mr. and Mrs. Councilman, South 4th Street, Steubenville, Ohio. Dear Councilman and Councilperson, I'm writing to you in regards to lots on Stanton, Benton, and Grant Street. I have called Sergeant Scott's office and only got his answering machine, to which I left messages to him before his vacation and after his vacation to call me back. I never received a call back yet. I also called the captain's secretary and the lady who answered for the other departments, but again, no calls back. Okay, here is my problem. Fred Chambers, who owns Frosty, owns all the empty lots as well as a house on Virginia Avenue. All the lots are behind the AEP substation and behind Cardello Electric Company. Every year I have to inform the city of high weeds because he only cuts it 2 times a year, and that is after much deliberation from me to council and the mayor's office, since the city weed control officer cannot do anything about my problem. I pay my taxes and am expected to keep my yard cut down to 6 inches or I get slapped with a weed ordinance. Yet this guy is allowed to have his logs grow up to 7 feet high in Japanese knotweeds, and no one says a word about it. I am the one who has to look at it all day long as it sits right in front of me 24/7. Also, the city abandoned a portion of Grant Street so that I didn't have anything to call about, but I own property on Grant Street and utilized that road, so I got screwed by the city on that one. I realize that you can't do anything about the reopening of Grant Street since he covered it up with dirt and debris now, but as I informed my district council person, Mrs. Kurtall, I'm asking you to assist me in keeping the weeds down as every tax-paying citizen who owns property in this city is expected to do. I would appreciate a call on this matter. Thank you, Patricia Marino.
Ms. Turtle.
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion that we receive this letter and be part of the minutes and give a copy to the chief, the law director, the city manager, board councilman, and the other administration needs the letter. Thank you.
Second.
It's been readily made the second that the communication received, file, made part of minutes, and referred to the city manager, the weed control officer, the board council person, and anyone else in the administration. Roll call.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamaga.
Aye.
Mr. Dilretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Kurtall.
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
So moved. Communications accepted. Also, I want to note for the record that my office also received the same letter that was just read, so I would enter that into the record. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Also, we do have a response. The administration did receive this communication, and at this time, I would like the clerk to read the response to the letter. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Will the clerk read the communication?
Yes, sir. It's an email from Sean Scott. Mr. Boland, I checked this area on Saturday, October 11th, while I was working, and it appears to have been cut down. Mr. Chambers had until tomorrow, October 15th, to complete the work, and it appears that he did so in a timely manner. And then Mr. Boland forwarded that to all of us.
Hearing no objections, it will be ordered into the record. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Mr. Boland, I believe you had your hand up.
I think that you addressed something to say, Sergeant Scott, Sergeant Scott, in the last 3 months, has investigated 186 complaints. So he can't do it all by himself. Need a little bit of help from the community. And I know Frosty's no saint. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Diarra, other petitions and communications, Madam Clerk.
No, that's it.
Mr. Medcat.
It's always tough to follow y'all. Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that all ordinances and resolutions be read in their entirety, be suspended, and all ordinances and resolutions be read by caption only.
Second.
It's been regularly made in second that the rules governing ordinances and resolutions be read in their entirety, be suspended, and all ordinances and resolutions be read by caption only. Roll call.
Mr. Call?
Aye.
Mr. Romagna?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kurtolo?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Rule suspended. Ordinance number 2014-96 by the Planning Committee, Ms. Kurtall, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its third and final reading.
Ordinance number 2014-96, an ordinance amending section 113502, section 115902, section 115904E, section 115905, section 118512B, section 118519A7, section 118527A5, section 118527A6, section 118538B1, and section 118546E of the zoning code.
You heard the third and final reading of ordinance number 2014-96. Before we ask for public comments, we are in receipt of two pieces of correspondence from the Planning and Zoning Commission. One from Christopher Petrozzi, the Urban Projects Director, and another piece of communication from Teresa DiCarantonio, Vice Chair. Without any objections, I will ask the clerk to read first the letter dated October 6, 2014 from Christopher Petrozzi, Urban Projects Director.
Dear Mr. Hendricks, I have reviewed the above referenced zoning map change and text amendments and offer the following comments regarding the same. The map and text changes are consistent with the comprehensive plan. The text changes are designed to protect adjacent residential areas while providing for more diverse commercial opportunities. In conclusion, based upon the above, I recommend that the Commission submit a positive recommendation to City Council regarding this ordinance. Sincerely, Christopher J. Petrossi, Urban Projects Director.
Hearing no objections, it is ordered into the record. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Will the clerk read Teresa DiCarantonio, Vice Chair's communication?
Dear members of City Council, at its regular meeting of October 6, 2014, a public hearing was held by the Steubenville Planning and Zoning Commission with regard to the above referenced zoning map and code amendments. After comment and discussion, the Commission voted unanimously to submit a positive recommendation to City Council regarding this legislation. Attached is a copy of the staff report regarding the above. I request that City Council take into consideration the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission with regard to the above. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Teresa DiCarantonio, Vice Chairman.
Hearing no objections, the letter of October 8, 2014 will be entered into the record. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Is there anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 2014-96? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, members council.
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Romagna?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kurtolo?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2014-96 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2014-111 by the Planning Committee, Ms. Kurtall, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its third and final reading.
Ordinance number 2014-111, an ordinance repealing existing Chapter 909 and enacting a new Chapter 909 of the Streets, Utilities, and Public Services Code of the City of Steubenville.
You heard the reading of ordinance number 2014-111. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address.
My name
name is Ann Sweeney. I live at 17 North Fifth here in town. They have little cutouts on my street, okay? And previously there had been a tree there. Well, over last summer, I had some trees sprout up in my garden. So I went and transplanted some along the side of my house and in this little section of the sidewalk. I think it's a maple, little red maple. Would that be something the city would, let me keep there, or should I go home and dig it up?
That would, Mr. Trudgeon, would you be able to address that without?
Yes, one of the goals of the ordinance is to be certain that trees are appropriate for the situation that they're in. So that would have to be looked at, determine what species of maple, where utilities were, and whether or not it was appropriate for that situation. So I couldn't give you an answer here, but I have to do more checking on the species, the location, what's around it, that type of area.
I remember when I first moved there, I did dig up an old tree stump, I guess whoever lived there previously, they cut them down, but it's just a great big hole in the sidewalk. And I figured I'd try to beautify the city as best as I could, so. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get in any trouble, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on ordinance number 2014-111? Please come forward, state your name and address. Not members council.
Question?
Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Belenagro?
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Berthold?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2014-111 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2014-122 by the Service Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. DeLoretto, Mr. Paul for its second reading.
Ordinance number 2014-122, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to advertise for bids in accordance with law for the purchase of necessary supplies for use in the service department and to provide for a contract for the purchase of said materials for the year 2015 or any part of said year through December 31st, 2015, authorizing the rate to accept any and all bids, authorizing entering into contracts and payment thereof.
You heard the second reading of ordinance number 2014-122. The third and final reading will be 2 weeks hence on October 28th. Ordinance number 2014-123 by the Planning Committee, Ms. Curall, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson for its first reading.
Ordinance number 2014-123, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1992-20 as amended, the zoning ordinance of the city of Steubenville, Ohio by rezoning property owned by House of Faith in 2017 of Sunset Properties, located at 1907 Estelle Avenue and 1913 Estelle Avenue, Steubenville, Ohio, from R1 Low Density Residential District to B2 Community Commercial District.
You heard the first reading of ordinance number 2014-123. Its second reading will be 2 weeks hence on October 28th. The third and final reading will be on November 11th. A public hearing by the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled for November 3rd. December 3rd. Oh, wait. December 1st, I'm sorry. So then, the 9th would be the third, December 9th will be the third and final reading. Again, the second reading will be 2 weeks hence on October 28th. The public hearing on December 1st, the third and final reading on December 9th. Ordinance number 2014-125 by the Service Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. DeLoretto, Mr. Paul.
Ordinance number 2014-124, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to make application for an emergency grant from the Ohio Public Works Commission to be used towards funding the City of Steubenville Spawns Branch Sanitary Sewer Emergency Repair, City Project Number 2014-137, and execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Metcalf.
Your Honor, a couple of things here. First of all, for 124, 125, I'd like to have Mr. Dolek give a brief explanation. Should I do it now or right after we?
Let's suspend the rules, get the ordinance on the floor.
Got it. Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that the rule required an ordinance be read on 3 separate pages be suspended. Ordinance number 2014-124 be given a second and third reading this evening before its body's passage or rejection.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that the rules governing ordinance be on 3 separate pages be suspended, and ordinance number 2014-125 be given its second and third reading for its body's passage. 124, I'm sorry. Will be given its second and third reading for its body's passage or rejection. Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villagna?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Berthold?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Rules suspended. Ordinance number 2014-124. And at this time, Mr. Metcalf, you would like a presentation by Mr. Dolan.
Thank you, Mayor.
Back on, I believe this is the ordinance for the Spawns Branch Sewer. Back on August the 20th, we had a very severe rainstorm come through. It was part of like a 25-year event, and we had several damages throughout the city. And this particular one was on the Spawns Branch sewer that comes down the hollow and dumps into Kamar's Run. The stream took out about 40 feet of sanitary sewer, and we had active sewage flowing in the stream. So we contracted directly with Fort Steuben Maintenance, and they actually completed the project in approximately 8 days. And the total project cost was approximately $28,000. They have already been paid, but I felt that this would be a good application to submit for OPWC emergency funding, and it was, and we will receive 80% of the $28,000.
We will now have public input. Is there anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 2014-124? Please come forward, state their name and address. Not members of council.
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villagna?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Berthold?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2014-124 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2014-125 by the Service Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. DiLoretto, Mr. Paul.
Ordinance number 2014-125, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to enter into a contract with ADR and Associates LTD for professional engineering services for the Loretta Drive water line replacement project, city project number 2014-126, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that the rule requiring an ordinance be read on 3 separate pages be suspended. Ordinance number 2014-125 be given its second, third reading this evening for its body's passage or rejection.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that the rules governing ordinance be read on 3 separate pages be suspended, and ordinance number 2014-125 be given its second and third reading for its body's passage or rejection. Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villagna?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Berthold?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Rules suspended. Ordinance number 2014-125.
Ordinance number 2014-125, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to enter into a contract with ADR and Associates LTD for professional engineering services for the Loretta Drive water line replacement project, city project number 2014-126, and declaring an emergency.
You heard the reading of ordinance number 2014-125. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address. Not members of council.
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
You want to speak? Hold on.
Well, I thought he made a motion, I'm sorry.
I thought there was a motion made to explain both ordinances
Yes, that's
before the
correct.
vote.
And I wanted to see Mr. Dolek give an explanation on this one as well, too. I think
Mr. Dolek.
sure the approximate linear feet. With ADR, we pre-qualified them a while back when we went through request for qualifications for consulting services, and their qualifications got approved, and this is going to be one of the first projects that they're going to design for. Thank you.
Question?
Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villagna?
Aye.
Mr. De La Reta?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Berthold?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2014-125 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2014-126 by the Building and Grounds Committee, Ms. Curdahl, Mr. Paul, Mr. Johnson for its first reading.
Ordinance number 2014-126, an ordinance granting a signed easement from the city of Steubenville to Fort Steuben Corporation LLC.
You heard the first reading of ordinance number 2014-126. Its second reading will be 2 weeks hence on October 28th. The third and final reading is scheduled for November 11th. Ordinance number 2014-127 by the Planning Committee, Ms. Curdahl, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson for its first reading.
Ordinance number 2014-127, an ordinance amending chapter 1175 of the zoning code creating the Alexander Manor Neighborhood Conservation District.
You heard the first reading of ordinance number 2014-127. The second reading will be 2 weeks hence on October 28th. There will be a public hearing set for December 1st, and the third and final reading will be on December 9th. That will conclude the ordinances and resolutions before City Council this evening. We will now move into the report of committees, and we'll start off with Mr. Paul.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Mr. Villagna?
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Villagna. Mr. De La Reta?
Yes, Your Honor. I like these new toys. Next Saturday, October 25th, Beatty Park will be cleaning up again, thanks to Franciscan University and Dr. Haney. Everyone and anyone is welcome. We're cleaning up, picking up litter, cleaning up the creek, picking up tires, anything else that's down there. And as you noticed, this past rain, all the south end was cleaned because those people cleaned up Beatty Park and the city took care of the two creeks. I have two gentlemen down there cleaning those creeks out. One's 90, one's about 70. Jack Trimmer and Larry Quinn. So I'm also looking for someone to donate a fence to Beatty Park, so anyone's interested, come and see me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. De La Reta. We'll move on to Mr. Johnson.
And no report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Curdahl?
Yes, Your Honor. Up under the Pride Committee, I'm going to the Subcommittee of Beautification. I'd just like to say thank you to the community for responding to the mum sale so well. Our goal was 100 mums, and we exceeded the goal and sold nearly 300 mums. We'd like to thank DeGregory's Florist for providing us with the mums, and a special thanks to Bob and Jackie Hines, who spearheaded the whole operation for the 2 days. With that, I remind people that there will be a beautification committee meeting next Thursday, the 23rd, at 6 p.m. here in the chambers. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Curdahl. We'll continue on to Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, just under finance, just a note of meetings next week, on the 20th, which will be Monday, 4:45 p.m., we'll have our first budget hearing with a few members of our team, our staff. Next Tuesday, 6 o'clock, will be our regularly scheduled finance meeting here in council chambers. And our second round of budget hearings will be then on the 22nd at 4:45 as well, with another set of our staff. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. That will conclude the miscellaneous report, the committee reports from the members of council. We will now move into the report of the administrative officers. And before I turn on to our city manager, I would like to take this opportunity to make a couple of quick reports. First of all, a reminder, Halloween has been set for the city of Steubenville. That will take place on Thursday, October 30th, from 5:30 to 7:30. Anybody wishing to participate in the trick-or-treating night, please turn on their front porch light. And of course, we want to encourage the adults to be with their children as they move through our community. I also would like to take this opportunity to once again thank the Hilltop Group of Pleasant Heights and Laybell for the cleanup over this past weekend. Although there continues to be less and less litter that we pick up, that's a sign that people are paying attention and improving. I know for a fact on my little route doing the ramp up to Lawson Avenue and across the Lawson Avenue Bridge and down Bellevue Boulevard and around I and Bard West, we had a lot of people stopping and thanking us also for the participation. But everybody pitched in, and special thanks to the Franciscan University and of course Teresa, you and your group for organizing it once again. I very quickly also want to inform the members of council that last month, I forgot to say about cell phones, but I think you understand what I'm looking at, Teresa. Thank you. I do want to take this opportunity to announce this evening that in September, if you can recall, we had quite a few reappointments to boards and commissions for the city of Steubenville. We reappointed Debbie Bitsy to the Jefferson County Port Authority. I overlooked, if you can recall, when the city and the county was sitting down talking about forming the Port Authority, dissolving the Steubenville Port Authority, we worked on a set of bylaws to guide us. In the bylaws, of course, there's 9 members to the Port Authority, 4 from the city, 4 from the county, and 1 from Regional Planning Commission. And it said that 4th appointment for the city, the first appointment would be a representative from the Chamber of Commerce, and the 4th appointment for the county would be the Board of Realtors. And then we would flop that for the reappointments. We would take the Board of Realtors, and they would take the Chamber of Commerce. I submitted to you the name of Debbie Vinci, who was really a Chamber of Commerce representative. That was called to my attention, and talking to the Executive Director, Evan Skirty, and also to one of the county commissioners, Commissioner Graham, and looking at how we could accommodate. Because quite frankly, Debbie Vinci has been doing a tremendous job, attends all the Port Authority meetings, pays attention, participates, in fact is the secretary. And the county's appointment is Gary Kane, a realtor, I think we all know or may know, and doing a fantastic job, and we would really hate to lose them. So it sounds kind of simple that we would just flip-flop. I would appoint Gary Kane as a Board of Realtor, and then the county could appoint Debbie Vinci. However, further in the bylaws, it indicates that the county commissioners would not appoint a city of Steubenville resident, and Debbie Vinci is. And we would hate to lose, especially at this critical stage of that organizing and moving forward with the Port Authority. So I and Mr. Graham decided that we would go back to the respective bodies and make them aware of this and ask for a one-time only memorandum of understanding attached to the bylaws that we, the 4-year appointment coming up, that we would continue. We would have the chamber appointment, and they would have the realtor's appointment, and we would keep it for consistency purposes. However, thereafter, 4 years from now, it would start flipping as we originally intended, and the intent of the ordinance. So if I would like to, if any member of council would like to participate in those discussions, feel free to call me. If not, I'm going to indicate to the county that we are open for that and to proceed with the memorandum of understanding to attach to the bylaws so we can continue down that course.
Do you need a motion, right, Your Honor?
Gary, the bylaws were really signed by the, at the time, city manager, and myself, and the chairman, or just those two, and the 3 board of county commissioners. It might have been also the Pokey, the chairman of the Economic Development Council. But in order for us to sign that memorandum of understanding, will I need a motion from?
Yeah, you know what, I get a motion from council to just instruct you to sign.
Mr. Mayor.
Your Honor, I'd just like to make a motion that we accept your recommendation of the letter of understanding that at this point in time, we would have to commence to stay on as an appointment for a 4-year term, and then through the bylaws, occur at the end of her term as well as Gary King's term.
Contingent upon the county agreeing to that.
Contingent upon the county agreeing, which you just stated. Thank you.
I second it.
It's been really moved in second. You heard the motion. Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
What was that again?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Bonamania?
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Curto?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved, motion carried, and I would like to thank the members of council, and I will facilitate that message to the Board of County Commissioners. Finally, on my list, as the mayor of the city of Steubenville, I have the great honor of attending a lot of events throughout the community, participating in a lot of things, and it's very gratifying. And I have the honors of presenting proclamations. There's an individual who served on our public library board and did a really outstanding job. Unfortunately, we lost that member of our community this past year. And if you can recall also in the appointments last month, I had asked that her husband, Stanley, step up to the plate. In fact, he was very honored of doing that and was excited and really wanted to do that. But I thought tonight we should honor the late Carol Gaston. And hearing no objections, I would like the clerk to read the proclamation, and then also the second ward councilman to make the presentation, who let alone knew the family, was good friends of the family, but is a good friend of the public library board also, to present the proclamation. Madam Clerk.
A proclamation remembering the late Carol Willis Gaston. Whereas Carol Willis Gaston, a well-respected resident and community volunteer, passed away on July 9th, 2014. And whereas Carol Willis Gaston served on the Steubenville Library Board for 40 years, belonged to Questers Junior and Senior Women's Club of Steubenville, YWCA, and a board member of the Academy of Lifelong Learning at Franciscan University. And whereas Carol Willis Gaston was a gifted individual who truly cared about implementing changes and improving the community to make it a better place in which to live and work. And whereas Carol Willis Gaston had a sense of caring and compassion that made her well respected as a wife, mother, grandmother, city resident, and volunteer. And whereas Carol Willis Gaston's leadership ability was only outdone by her never-ending generosity, energy, and willingness to be of help to others. And whereas Carol Willis Gaston was an exceptional woman and a role model that others should aspire to be like. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Dominic Mucci Jr., Mayor of the City of Steubenville, do hereby recognize the dedication of Carol Willis Gaston to our community and express the city of Steubenville's heartfelt sympathy to the family and friends of Carol Willis Gaston. In witness thereof, I have affixed the official seal of the office of the mayor of the city of Steubenville, Ohio, and have subscribed my name on this 14th day of October in the year of our Lord 2014. Dominic Ritchie Jr., Mayor.
And this evening, we have her husband, Stanley. Would you please come forward? Mr. Johnson, would you please make the presentation?
Stanley, I am honored to be able to present this proclamation to you, which recognizes your wife Carol's 40 years of service to as a library board of trustee. Steubenville and Jefferson County have an excellent library system, and Carol played a great part in that. And we appreciate all her time and effort and commitment to the library system.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for making that presentation. That will conclude my report. We will now move on to our city manager, Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of items to bring to citizens' attention this evening. Our patching and pothole repair efforts continue. Just to name a couple of streets where our M&R division has been. Cherry Avenue, Lafayette, the alley between Wilshire and Vernon, Hollywood Boulevard, Lincoln Heights Hill, Kendall and Foster, McConnell, Chestnut Alley, Harvard, Oregon, Wesley, Murphy, North Lakeville Court, Cole Hill, the 4th Street ramp at State Route 7, Adams Street from 7th Street to 9th Street, 9th Street, Spencer, and the John Scott Connector. So I'm pleased to, the weather has been cooperating with us also, but I do want to emphasize to the citizens that we are focused very much on pothole repair. I know that our street department is, that is one of their top priorities, if not their top priority right now, and that work will continue as we prepare for the winter months coming up. Other items that the street department has been engaged in. One area where we've looked at, or where a lot of activity has taken place, has been in tree trimming, tree removal, and most recently, I just want to highlight that the street department removed 4 dead trees between Slack Street and Lincoln Avenue on South 4th Street, and some of these trees were, as you probably are very much aware, were quite large, and I just again want to commend the street department for their work. I think it made a tremendous difference. One of the things that we'll be talking about in our budget hearings is funding for street tree removal and trimming. I've noted that there's a number of areas, the Hilltop neighborhoods are, I think, a prime example where we have a number of dead trees, and I think removal of those would make a very positive impact. So that certainly is an area that we'll be looking at going into the 2015 budget. Just a couple of other quick items to bring to your attention. The city's hot mix resurfacing improvements continue. Bray Barton Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard, including Bray Barton Circle and Terry Avenue from Bray Barton Boulevard to the West Terminus is proceeding. We also continue work on the Harvard Avenue Waterline project. That's a fairly large project, one that we are particularly focused on. It's really our first waterline replacement project in a number of decades, I guess, Mike. But again, we're very focused on that and looking forward to trying to complete that project as soon as possible. I would just mention a couple other things. I wanted to express again our appreciation, the city's appreciation in working closely with county commissioners to expand the city's enterprise zone. Currently, our enterprise zone, which is an economic development tool to provide incentives for businesses to invest in the community. It's located primarily in the downtown area. This expansion will be citywide and allow us to be competitive in attracting more competitive, I should say, in attracting manufacturing, logistics, warehousing, some of those types of developments to our city. So again, I would like to express my thanks to the county commissioners. At our comprehensive plan implementation meeting last week, we talked a lot about the Civic Plaza project. That's the area between the county courthouse and City Hall. And we look forward to the opportunity to work with our partners at the county on that project. I was pleased to attend a meeting this morning of the Trails and Greenways Committee. They're working very hard on implementing that section of the comprehensive plan for our trails and paths and bike routes in the city. And I think that will be a tremendous impact in the quality of life for our community. Everything we can do to enhance that will help us in attracting businesses, residents, and again, improve the quality of life for the community. The Bellevue Clubhouse Phase 1A project renovation continues to move forward, and we're hopeful that that will be completed by the end of this year. Finally, just a couple of items that I wanted to bring up. We ran out of time, Councilman Paul, at our service or safety committee meeting, and just a couple things I wanted to update council on from that meeting. We discussed the status of the open space at the Justice Center, the jail availability. I did receive information from Chief McCafferty. He's been working very closely with the sheriff. Stated that we believe there's about 40 to 60 spaces that could be opened in the jail. However, I just wanted to confirm, I often get that question, well, why aren't those open? And we have confirmed that it is financial considerations. Chief McCafferty stated it would cost somewhere between $350,000 and $400,000 to open those.
Yes, that's what the sheriff told me.
Right, from the sheriff. Major costs would be hiring additional corrections officers. Estimate would be 4 additional corrections officers would be needed at about $50,000 apiece, so it's about $200,000 right there. Additional costs would be an estimated for food and medical. So we continue to work with the county on those items, but I often have been asked that question, and I just wanted to reiterate why that is, why those are available, but why we haven't been able to utilize those. And the final item I wanted to bring up was the discussion about the police department and our court facility, potentially moving to the Justice Center. I do have a meeting that's scheduled for next week with Branstetter Carroll. They were the firm that, and Graycon, it was that combination through our design build process. They rose to the top as the firm that we wanted to at least begin negotiations with to discuss the possibility of renovations to the police department and court facility. What I've been given in the interim, of course, the county did approach us with possibility of moving to the Justice Center. So my discussion with Branstetter Carroll and with our committee that involves Chris Petrozzi and the chief and other individuals will be to discuss with Branstetter, what would be the cost, what would be their capabilities to be able to look at a comparison between our currently leaving this facility, the police and court, going to the Justice Center, and also how this facility would be reused versus renovating this facility for the police department and the court to continue to stay here. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to report some progress on that from those discussions with Branstetter Carroll, and my hope, Mr. Paul, would be to outline that at the next safety committee meeting.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to answer any questions, but those are the major items that the administration has been working on at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Bowler. We will now move on to our law director, Mr. Rappello.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Rappello. And once again, we'd like to thank the department head who attended tonight's council meeting. With that, we will move under miscellaneous, and Mr. Paul.
I have two now, Your Honor. I think our council clerk should have my microphone. She's been doing a lot of talking tonight. I think maybe she could use mine. Do you want this?
She has.
She has one. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. See, mine's on. Mine's on. I didn't hear yours.
It's on.
Okay. Sorry, I'm kidding, Frank.
That's okay.
Okay, yes, Your Honor. There's been talk going around with the discussion. November 11th is Veterans Day. And I want to put to bed the issue that's been going around is, are we going to have a council meeting that day or not? Being at Veterans Day, I think in honor of the veterans that we should probably postpone it or cancel it and put it to another date. With that being said, I would like to get it out of the way tonight so I can quit getting that same email, when you want to have this meeting, we're going to do it? No, I can't do it. Let's do it. I want to put it to bed tonight. But that's something serious. I hate emailing anyhow, or texting and all that, so let's just put this to bed tonight. Okay. The mayor and I talked. I think there's a couple options. One, we can change it to another day. I know you can't make it. Two, we brought up, we could do a
Combined.
sunshine regular meeting the week before, or we just move it to another day.
Well, the week before is the 4th, and that's election day, but we usually meet on the election day. But the 11th is veterans, and I would agree with Mr. Paul. Out of respect for the veterans, we should move that meeting. You can move it to the 12th, which I understand you can't make it. You can move it to the 10th, or the following week, we can have both a sunshine meeting and a regular meeting the same evening.
You want to do it Monday?
Can everybody make it Monday?
I think my schedule's available.
You're free.
Monday the 10th.
Can I have a motion to move the meeting then?
Well, why don't you make that?
Okay. Yes, Your Honor, I make the motion that we move the November 11th meeting to November 10th, Monday.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and second that we move the November 11th scheduled regular meeting to November 10th. Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kirkendall?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
So moved. Motion carried. Anything else, Mr. Paul?
No, I'm good.
That will conclude the miscellaneous reports from the members of council. We will now move into public forum. Is there anyone wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Joe Summerall, 112 Starkdale Road, Steubenville, Ohio. I'd like to commend the council and everybody for getting this new microphone system. I can finally hear. When I was at the meeting we had prior to this, it didn't register too much other than Stacy over there. She didn't even have a microphone. So she did a good job, but I want to thank you. And there's still a couple more things. Greg, I think Larry Tomaselli told you, to speak into the thing. And I want to thank everybody because I could hear fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
Good evening, I'm Clara Morris from 2905 Linda Way. I'm here because the city had a main water line break on my street at the next door neighbors. I have a room under my house that I call basement, and it was about the size of 2 cars garage. It had over 4 feet of water. The water evidently ran all night long. It was shooting about that high at 6 a.m. in the morning when a police officer woke me up. I also have a rec room, a washroom, a full bathroom, and a furnace room that was totally covered with 2 inches to 12 inches of mud and water. I have been told by the city insurance company and our city manager that I'm not entitled to any money. And I would like to know why. I know for a fact someone had $5,000 paid to them, $2,500 paid for them, and I would like to know who makes these decisions. How do you pick and choose? Is it by your last name, by where you live, or what? I am retired, my husband is retired, we live on a fixed income, and it cost me $7,500 to replace and refurbish my house, which is not finished under the house. I replaced furniture for $1,400. I'm asking for $3,000 because I have an insurance company that paid me $5,000. That was it. I want to know why that I am not entitled to anything.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris. We will call on the city manager, but the normal procedure is to place a claim against the city. We turn it into our insurance company. They contact your insurance company. Did that whole process happen on this particular claim?
Yes, it did. I have been dealing.
So your insurance company is paying you, but the deductible is what you're saying the $3,000 they didn't pay?
My deductible is $500, and my insurance company did not tell me I had to pay. They wrote me a check for $5,000 3 weeks after I had the incident, which was June 23rd. I went in the hospital on July 7th for an entire hip replacement, and I've been laid up quite a bit.
Mr. Bowler.
I would just like a little bit of consideration.
Thank you, Your Honor and Counsel, Mrs. Morris, and you and I have talked a number of times on the
Yes,
phone.
we have.
And, I would, and the mayor alluded to it, but the process for incidents like this is that when an event occurs, we do ask the property owners to contact their insurance company. If there is not satisfaction there, then certainly we bring in our city's insurance company. Typically, the insurance companies are able to work that out between themselves. In this case, I do know that the city's insurance company and my review of it as well determined that, and really what, and I get the responsibility, if you will, of making a decision on these kinds of matters. One of the considerations that I think is very important and that I look for when I'm looking at these kinds of events is, was the city negligent? And there certainly is, through the revised code, and our law director would be much more adept at talking about that than I am, but cities have certain immunities to these types of situations. And while I take that into consideration, I also want to use my own judgment and see if there's a negligence, if there's just what a reasonable person would come to the conclusion that there was. Unfortunately, in this case, or however you want to look at it, the city, this was a water line break that happened. It wasn't that the city ignored the line or ignored the break or was aware that it was faulty or in some way was, at least to a degree that I can determine, was overtly negligent in what
Okay,
they
there
had done.
has been.
And that's why, and I think I described that too.
Well, there's
That's
been
how I
a
reached my
leakage.
conclusion.
A leakage into the basement part of my house for 14 years that I know of. And we tried every way possible to find out where the water was coming from. It was just a slight leak. Well, after this broke and you replaced the line, I don't have the leak anymore. So your line broke and leaked into my basement area for 20 years or better probably, which didn't do a lot of damage because there's sewer there, which took care of it and took it down over the hill into the creek that goes down St. Clair. But did your engineer come out there and look at the hole and see how old the pipe was, and did he check on any of the other lines? I mean, my whole front yard was like a pond. I had just had landscaping done. I didn't even figure that in my loss. I lost over $10,000 in pictures and albums and stuff of my 3 adult children that I will never regain. And the only thing I'm asking for is to repair my house. So when I die in a few years, my kids can sell it. That's all I ask. Because I had to take $3,500 out of my savings to do what I had to do. And I think it's unfair, because I know for a fact you pay other people. How do you pick and choose who you pay? That's what I would like to have answered.
Well, I believe he just answered that. When we are negligent, our insurance company steps forward and pays for those claims.
But it was a water line break, Gary.
Yeah, but it's not negligence. Our insurance company made the determination that we weren't negligent. Can I ask you, why didn't your insurance company pay for the full claim?
Evidently, it was what I had. I don't know. And they felt that the city should be responsible for something.
Well, I think Mr. Boland explained it pretty clearly.
Well, I really am not satisfied. I'm very disappointed. And I did talk to my lawyer before I came here tonight, and he told me he would represent me. But for me to go ahead and place my case, you know.
Okay, that's
And,
fine.
but I'm not saying my lawyer won't be in touch. But I'm very, very disappointed. I've lived here since I was 15, and I had a business in this town that I had insurance on everything that I did. Food, building, cars, vans, everything. I have insurance on the water lines that come into my house. I have insurance on the electric lines that come into my house. And I don't understand why this city doesn't have an insurance company that pays when there's damage, because it's their water line, not mine.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Sandy Root. I reside at 803 Longford Drive. And I have a couple of concerns about the copy that I received from the Charter Review Commission. First of all, I feel that we should have gotten the changes before now. The election is November the 2nd, and I know for a fact that some people still have not, and they're registered voters, they still have not received a copy of the changes that are proposed that we're supposed to vote on November 2nd. Now, I've served on several committees to amend charters, bylaws, constitutions, and every time I've done that, we've always had to give the people the original language that was stated that you wanted to change, along with the changes written in italics, and all I got was a bunch of issues, and I don't know what they pertain to because I don't have a copy of the city charter. So how am I supposed to compare and know,
If,
make a conscious decision. Excuse me?
I was just going to answer your question. We have the complete text in what the change is in the clerk's office, so we'll be happy to give that to you.
So if I hadn't come here and asked this question, I would have never known that? All I was gonna have was
I
this
believe that
issue.
I believe that the Charter Commission had talked about that in public meetings, and I believe we had stated it too, that by law, when we passed our ordinance, we could have done it two ways. The Charter Commission did it the way of the summary. But we do have the text in what's changed, and then the other thing that we do as required by law is at each polling place, there will be a copy of the text and what has changed. But like I said, that'd be no
And
problem.
we won't get that until we get to the polling place.
Right, or once again, if anybody wants to come down here and pick that up, I believe we've already made copies, and I know Frank would be more than happy to, give you a copy tonight.
Oh, I'll definitely be able to, I definitely want a copy, because one of my biggest issue with the whole thing is issue 9, article 6, section 6, concerning the rec director. Which in the language that you're giving says that it will be discretionary of whether or not we'll have a parks director. That I don't understand. I don't understand whose discretion. Will it be the city manager's discretion? Will it be city council? And once their term is up, then the next set of councilmen come in, and then at their discretion, they will hire one or not hire one. I just have a new pastor who moved into my city. And his first question was, I want a transition team that's going to tell me where I can take my 11-year-old daughter for recreation, where she should go to school, hospitals. He wanted to know those things. And my thing is, if you're going to entice people to come into the city, like the city manager said, you're going to invite people to come, businesses to come, how can you put the Parks and Rec on the back burner? And this seems to me is what you're doing. It's things like you're planning to take another step toward, every time there's a cut, it's always the Parks and Rec. Right now, our director is working with 2 full-time people, 3 part-time. And all of you know from the last time when there was a layoff, who went first? The people from the Parks and Rec. The mayor and I, we tried to keep things together. The board did a tremendous job, I believe, along with the mayor acting as city manager to keep things going. But we need a viable Parks and Rec department, and we can't have that without a director. I'm not saying it because Mary Beth is here. I'm saying it because I'm saying here in the city. She's not here, Mayor. You looked over there like she's over there. I meant in the city, and I'm sure she'll hear about it. But I'm saying that because we need a viable Parks and Rec for quality of life. We can't go forward. She's putting out a lot of programs. She's doing a tremendous job. But we need to have a director there, because had we had a director when the part-time help got laid off, the mayor's hair wouldn't be as gray as it is, and I wouldn't have as much in mind as I do now. Because we had to work really hard to keep that together. Not that I'm complaining or saying anything, because I asked, I begged the mayor to be on the Parks and Rec board. He offered me other appointments, and I said, no, I want to be on the Parks and Rec, because that's where my heart lies. It lies with the children. If we don't bring up the children, if we don't hear the children crying, if we don't hear the kids out playing and having fun, we are not going to have a city. The city of Steubenville will be no more. So, I don't know what anybody else is going to do, but I don't think that even when I get the changes, and I can compare, that I'm going to vote for this. I'm going to vote definitely no on issue 9, and probably vote everything down until I can determine what was said, what was the original, and what the change is, to see if it's going to be good for my city. But right now, I think that anybody in here, if you want to continue with a viable recreation department to improve the quality of life in the city of Steubenville, we need to have, we must have, we should have, we shall have a parks director. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rue. Mrs. Rue, the charter is also available at the city website if you would like to review it sooner than we get you the copy that Mr. Rapella made reference to. Mr. Metcalf?
Yes, Your Honor, you made mention of the website. Can we post the changes on the website specifically instead of having the whole charter on it, which is there, and have the changes, so that way it would be easier for people internet access, instead of just trying to come down and get it from a council clerk.
If that would be permissible and the law director would agree to that, and it doesn't become political, because you know that is prohibited, and there's options out there on this thing, so I would say that would be a great idea.
But you have to remember that everybody doesn't have an access.
Well,
That's what I said, for those who do.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm kind of surprised that the registered voters did not receive it because the mailing list came from the Board of Elections of all registered voters in the city of Steubenville. Let me tell you, just so you understand, I've been in office quite a few times and ran for election quite a few times. There's a lot of people that indicate that yes, they are registered voters, when in fact they really are not. So I believe that the list that we received, I believe the list that we received came directly from the Board of Elections of registered voters. Over 13,000 were mailed out. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address. If not, Mr. Metcalf. Oh, I'm sorry.
I am Leonard Morris, and I'm in Clara's husband. I think we chose the right night to come to this meeting. This little lady over here provided enough evidence that this water system is shot. There's a lot of leaks. How many leaks was in that one line? 25 leaks? Wasn't that reported? Wasn't that reported? About a water line that had 25 leaks.
He's talking about Loretta.
Loretta? Right.
Loretta Drive.
But these water lines go under all streets, or alongside of all streets. These water lines are a major problem. How old are they? Tell me, because I read it in the paper. Anybody here want to say how old the water lines are? I saw the water line that broke. It was that big around, it had a hole that big. And it made geysers come up about that high, 2 of them. And it ran all night long. It didn't run, and it didn't run into my front or anything like that. It went down through, it's been leaking. It had a channel of some kind already leaking from how long, I don't know. But it has an access into my place. So that line has formed its own access. And I think it's about time we got down to what this little lady reported on and join with her and check all this water business. This is the right night to come. I hit it lucky, and I'm telling you, I'm serious. It's not fair. Everybody else has to insure their car, their truck, their home. They don't have to, but it's practical. Why doesn't the city have insurance that covers what they own? They own the water. They own everything that's public, and they're responsible for it. Everybody else is responsible for what they own. Why aren't you? Thank you.
Thank you. Last call. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address. If not, Mr. Metcalf.
Not, Your Honor, I make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
Second.
It's been readily moved and seconded that we adjourn. Roll call.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Belvecchio?
Aye.